Hello everyone. In the final part of our chatbot video tutorial, I want to take it to another step further. As you can see here, I created a stack navigation and a couple more pages. So before the user can chat with our chatbot, they have to sign in with their Google account. So I'm gonna show it to you now. Alright, and then when the user is signed in, they're gonna see the welcome screen, and then they can go in the chat room to chat with the chatbot. Okay, so this is the previous messages. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to store the messages to cloud file store, so that the next time the user comes back, we can download all the previous conversations and show them to the user, and the user can continue where they left off. Okay, so I'm gonna say like yes. All right, so nice. And then when they are done, they go back and they come back in again. Okay, everything will be like exactly the same as the last time. Okay, and when they log out, see, perfect. Okay, so let's begin. This is where we left off from the last video. I want to make some minor changes in our app.js file before we create our stack navigation. So in the render bubble function, you scroll down to this part of the function where we defined a button. So instead of sending our message to the onSend function, I'm going to change this one to send bot response. Okay, because we don't want to go through DialogFlow for this one. We want it to go straight to the user. Okay, send bot response. Okay, this function, and then up here after the object new date, I want to add .get time and save, because we want to store the date as millisecond, so that when we load our users previous messages, it will be much easier to sort. Okay, we want to do that for every date object, so I'm going to press Command F and search for date, and then add .get time. Okay, one more here, get time, and get time, and last one down here, get time and save. Okay, I'm gonna remove the comments. All right, and last one, in the sendBot response function, instead of sending an image along with the message, I want to just send a message. Okay, we don't want to send an image anymore. I just want to ask the user simply whether they want to buy a plane ticket. Okay, and save. Now go back to the root directory, and you need to create a new folder. We can call this one app. Inside the app folder, we're gonna make another folder. We're gonna call this one screens. Inside the screens, I'm going to make a new file called chatbot.js, and create another one called login.js. Okay, both files will be empty. Next, we need to copy everything in the app.js file and put it here in the chatbot.js, and then change the name here to chatbot. One more up here, chatbot, and save. We want to move assets folder inside the app folder to move. Make sure that assets is under app, not screens. Okay, And one more file that we want to move is the env file under the app folder. Okay, nice. So in the login file, I'm gonna import react from react and import view text button save area view from React Native, and I'm going to export the function login. Okay, and right now I'm gonna return just a text called login page. All right, now go to the app.js. I'm gonna remove everything. Okay, I'm gonna import react from react, import view text save area view from React Native, and then export default function app. Right now just return simple text like from app. Okay, when you open up your simulator, this is how your app should look like now. But now the tag is kind of in the same line as the status bar. I'm going to wrap everything under the save area view so that the tag is under the status bar. Nice. Now let's try importing the login screen. Login from app screens, login, and then remove this, pass this in instead. It crashed because okay, I need to use the capital T, not the text. Okay, so now that is working. Let's try the chatbot screen, and here save. It says here that it cannot find the env. Okay, so go back to the chatbot, because before our file app.js file was in the same directory as the env file, but now we move it one directory deeper, so we need to go up one more directory, and the same thing goes to the assets folder. Before we save the changes, this gonna crash, so we probably need to stop the simulator. Okay, Control C, and then save the file here on your terminal. You can execute the React Native run iOS again so that the app won't crash. Okay. Okay. So it's running, but I don't see anything. Now go back to app.js. You need to remove the save area view and then save the change. Now everything is back. I want to travel. Okay, cool. This is not a good user's experience when the user wants to change the screens, they need to manually change it here. That's not an ideal, right? So that is when the stack navigation comes in. We're gonna use this package React Navigation to make the magic happen. Go to their website and then click on docs. We're gonna follow their steps in installing. Okay, so this is the first package that you need for your project. I'm gonna copy, and then I'm gonna open my, let's close the simulator first, and then install the package. Okay, that's done. Next, you need to install these packages: gesture handler, reanimated, screens, save area context, and masked view. And we're not doing that for Expo. We are using bare React Native project. So copy, and then install everything. Nice. So because we are using React Native 0.60 and higher, we don't have to link the packages, so we can skip this part. Okay, you need to add this to your app.js, which is here on top here. Okay, save, back here. Okay, now you can try importing navigation container from the React Navigation package. Okay, and you can return the navigation container. Okay. We're not done yet because we need to install another package to make the navigation work. So follow the link. This is the package that we need to install, Stack Navigator library. Just follow the steps, copy, install the package. Alright, so that is done. Now we can create our Stack Navigator. First, we need to import create Stack Navigator from this package. Go to the app.js and then import it to your project, to your app.js file. Okay. And then you need to use this line, put it here, and then copy everything here. Actually, and replace what we have here. Nice. Okay, so we don't have the home screen. Actually, let's rename this to login screen from the login file. So we're gonna put the login screen over here. This is the component, the file path that we want this screen to go to, and the name can be anything. I'm gonna call it just login. Okay, and you can give it the initial route name. This is the first screen for your app, so copy everything and put it here. I'm gonna assign the login screen to it. Save. This is some options. Okay, you can copy this line, put it here, and this is the should be the title on top of the screen. I'm gonna call it just login. Okay, okay, let's try it out. I'm gonna open up my simulator. Okay, sorry. Okay, before we can run our simulator, don't forget to cd to iOS and then port update. Okay, when that is done, you need to port install also. Nice. Now cd back to the root directory, and then you can run react native run iOS. Okay, everything is working just fine. Now let's import our chatbot screen from app screens chatbot. Okay, I'm gonna copy everything here, paste it here, change login to chatbot. This should be chatbot screen with the title, let's call it chat room. Okay, and save. Let's add a button right here so that when you click on it, it will go to the chatbot screen. Okay, now I go back to the React navigation documentation in the moving between screens article. If you scroll down here to this part of the documentation, you can see how easy it is to navigate to a new screen. All you need is a button to click. Okay, I'm gonna copy that because right now I'm on the login page and I already imported button class from React Native, so I can just simply put button here and change the title from go to detail to go to chat room, and we use onPress function to navigate to our chatbot screen. And go back to app.js. When you put your new screens under navigation container, your screens will receive the navigation object automatically. So when you create a new screen, like login screen, you can just pass in your navigation prompt here, and then you can use this object and also navigation function to link to a new screen. Okay, that is how easy it is. So I'm going to save. Okay, now let's try that on the simulator. Right now I'm on the login screen, login page. Now I click on go to chat room. Okay, everything works fine. I say hi. All right, so now go back to the login screen. Next step is we're going to add a login button here. So the user needs to log in with their Google account before going to the chat room. Okay, and we are going to use Firebase to store users' conversation data. so that next time when they go back to the chat room, they can see their previous messages. To do that, you need to add a project to your Firebase console. So on this page, I click on add a project, and I'm going to name it give the chat, and continue. Use my account. Okay, create a project, and it should be like a minute. When it's done, click continue, and then go to authentication. Get started. All right. Now, you need to enable Google sign-in. Click here, click enable. You can keep the default name or give it a new name. I'm gonna keep it is, and I'm gonna use my email address. Okay, and save. All right, now your user can now sign in with their Google account. Now go over here, click project settings, scroll down, click iOS. You're gonna need iOS bundle ID. So open up your Xcode, open a project or file. Inside your iOS folder, okay, this is your root directory. Go to iOS and then choose Xcode workspace, this file, and open. Then click over here. You will see in general, and right here is your bundle identifier. So you need to copy this one and go back to Firebase, put it here, and then register your app. Download your Google Service Info plist. And then next. Continue clicking next, and go back to console. Next, you need to add your plist file to your Xcode project. So I open this folder up, and I have my plist file right here. So I'm going to drag and drop it under the gifted chatbot folder. And then make sure that this is ticked. Copy items if needed, and then finish. So open it up. What you need is this line, reversed client ID. Copy the value on this line, and then go back here to info, and then down here URL types, expand it. If you don't see this box, you need to press the plus icon, and then over here URL schemas, you paste it here what you copied. Okay, and that is done. I'm going to stop my simulator and install some more packages. Please install the following packages: npm i-save, add React Native Community, Google dash sign in at react dash native dash Firebase slash app at react dash native dash Firebase slash auth at react dash native dash Firebase slash Firestore, and then press enter. Now go back to the login.js file. We need to import classes. The first one is Google sign in. Next, Google sign in button and status codes from at React Native Community Google sign in. We need to import auth from at React Native Firebase slash auth. Up here, we also need to import use state and use effect. Above the return function, we're gonna need to declare some states. So I'm gonna name it logged in and set logged in use state to set it to false, and another state is user and set user use state with an empty array. Then we need to use the use effect function, arrow function, type in Google sign in from this class dot configure the scopes, and the scopes is email, web client ID, as for web client ID, you can get the ID from your plist file. So in your Xcode project, click on your plist file, and right here, client ID, you need to copy everything here and put it here. And then offline access, we're gonna set it to true. Const subscriber, we're gonna use the auth function that we imported on auth state change to track the user's login state on auth changed, and then we're gonna return subscriber. And then we're gonna create this function on auth state changed, take in user, and then we're gonna set the user to user. If the user exists, we're gonna set the login to true. And then we're gonna create a sign-in function. We're gonna need the async and try catch. await Google sign in using this has play services function, and then access token ID token await Google sign in dot sign in, and then we're gonna set login to true, and then we're gonna make a variable called credential from auth dot Google auth provider dot credential, and then we're gonna pass in ID token and access token. Then await auth dot sign in with credential, and then we're gonna pass in the credential that we declare here, and then in the catch block, if error dot code equals status codes dot sign in cancel, we're gonna alert the user cancel. Else if error dot code equals status codes dot in progress, we're gonna alert them that sign in progress. Else if error dot code equals status codes dot play services not available, then we're gonna send an alert saying play services not available. And else. Okay. Next, the sign out function. We also gonna use async. Gonna try catch here. Await Google sign in dot revoke access when the user is signing out. Then we're gonna await Google sign in dot sign out. Then go to auth dot sign out, and then arrow function, we're gonna send an alert saying you are signed out. Then we're gonna set the login to false. For the catch block, we are just going to console log the error. Now we have the sign out function, sign in function, and we can keep track of the user's sign in status. Okay, so now let's work on the HTML part. We're gonna copy this one here, put it there, and then we're gonna set an empty div, save area view. Inside, I'm gonna insert another view, and I'm gonna give it a inline style. Just define content center, align items center, and height of 500. So if the user exists, which is here. Okay, so the user needs to sign in to be able to create an object user through this function sign in. Okay, so if the user is not empty, we're gonna display some UI, and if the user doesn't exist, we're gonna pass in something else. Okay, so in here, if there is a user, we're gonna type in view and also give it a style, align items center. Inside, I'm gonna display a text saying welcome user dot display name. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a button. Okay, so we already have the button, is right here. I'm gonna remove this part and put it right here. Okay, add another button. This dot sign out. The title is logout. I'm gonna give the color red. Okay, close it. Okay, so if the user exists, we're gonna display this, but if the user doesn't exist, we're gonna display something else. So say view gonna display a message saying please sign in to use the chatbot, and then Google sign in button, style, width of 192, height 48, size is Google sign in button dot size dot wide. Okay, and the color is Google sign in button dot color dot dark. This should be capital S. Okay, and then on press this dot underscore sign in. Okay, self closing tag. Save. And right here, I'm going to pass along some params. So I'm gonna call it name and pass in the display value. Okay, user.display name, and also pass along the ID, user.uid, so that we can use the name and ID in the chatbot class. And I'm gonna save. Okay, next we need to allow the Firebase on iOS to use the credentials we set up in the login file here. To do that, you need to go to the iOS folder and here look for your project name, and then go to app delegate.m double click. Okay, so you need to include this line. You need to import firebase.h, and here after the curly brace you need to add these lines. Okay, make sure that you type them correctly. After that, you need to update your pod files. So you need to cd to iOS and then pod update. When that is done, you need to also pod install. Okay, so when pod install is done, you need to go back to the root directory, and then you can try react native run iOS. This should take a while though, because the Xcode is trying to install Firebase files onto your project, so be a little bit patient. And then when it is finished, you should see this login screen with the sign in button. So I can click on it and then sign in. Choose your email address. Login. There you go. You see the welcome message and the logout button. So let's go check it out. Everything is fine. So I want to travel. Send. Yes. Nice. If you go back to the login page and then press logout, and now you're logged out. Okay, you don't see the chat room button anymore, not until you sign in again. And the next step is to store our users' data to Firestore, so that next time they come back to the chat room, they will see their previous messages. So if for some reason your app crashed, you probably want to remove, delete your node modules folder, and then you can try npm install everything again. Here, so you just go to your root directory, npm install, and then when that is done, you go to the iOS folder, pod update, okay, and then pod install, and that should work. Also, make sure that your plist file is in the this folder, okay, your project name folder, not outside, okay, or else that wouldn't work. And most importantly, make sure that you type in everything correctly. Okay, be careful of all the typos and the syntax error, and make sure that you install all the required packages